Hi all, this is day 77 of my GATE CS prep journey for 2027 attempt. So I just got done with my OS second lecture of like how to create process. So if you see here, I have roughly jotted down from the lecture that I have just covered. I will revise it in short, not short, like whatever I have written. Lot of new things got to know. I mean, it's just second lecture, but still the background needs to be developed so that you know we'll get the interest of the subject. So there were few questions asked by students while lecture going on, so I have noted down an answer of that also, because from that also I got to know a lot of things. So first, like, so operating system or OS is basically code of like lakhs of lines of code. If you think what is OS, then it's a 10 lakhs lines of code. Currently it would be more than that. So someone asked, if it is code, then is it compiled? So answer, yes, it is already compiled. File in hard disk, we don't have to compile it again and again. It's already compiled, we have to just run it. So that's the answer. If OS is code and it is compiled, so yes, it is compiled. And then there was second question, like, is it possible to tweak the OS in your personal laptop? So answer is yes. There are few high level steps like download same open source code OS code in Linux, do all changes, compile it, create executable file, store in secondary memory, special place in secondary memory, and then ask bootloader to point that address. So that's the high level steps. That's the high level steps to tweak the OS in your personal laptop. Then there was like how to run program. So first, user writes a program, writer converts program into executable code, that is bytecode, hello.c to hello.out. User requests OS to run bytecode, OS loads program into memory loader, OS sets register properly running code, that is PC value, and ask running code. So these are the few steps to run the program. After this, so there is piece of code given and we need to run it. That means run, like, load into main memory. So first thing, we have to compile it, and after compilation, a.out will have section, data section, global variable. A.out will be having data section, global variable, text section, need to load in main memory after compilation. In main memory, need to load it, and to load it there are different strategies like contiguously divide program into different parts, that is called segmentation, paging, and base plus bound register. So these are different strategies to load programming in main memory. How OS creating space in main memory. So like before that, they gave some information like, a.out is executable file for Linux, and to run it we have command like /a.out on shell. So they have given example what is shell, command line interface by the image. So then their shell already running and need to run one more program along with shell in main memory. So whatever we need to run, it should be in main memory. It will be in main memory, then we can run it. So now we need to run OS code and shell, which both are present in main memory. OS is piece of code and it does not run all the time. OS always in main memory, so it does not run all the time. It sits in main memory. So then what is it? So there was question, if OS is not constantly running, then how background processes are running? So background process doesn't need OS to run all the time. There are few like example where OS really needs, or OS comes into picture, like printf. So this cannot run without OS interface because it deals with hardware. It deals with monitor to show the output. So printf is one example where OS needs. Then there is second example called malloc, where we allocate memory. So memory is again part of hardware. So for this hardware, OS will come into picture. So these are the example where OS actually needs, for not for all the background processes. After this, so need to load hello.out in main memory where shell and OS already present. Need to stop execution of shell and start executing a.out. So objective is we need to create space for hello.out and load hello.out in main memory where we creating the space. These two steps can be done with fork and exec. So that was the lecture, like coming lecture, where we'll be learning fork and exec to create the space and load that program into created space. So there was definition of process, which is program in execution. Hello.out not process, it is executable file. Once load into main memory, it becomes process. So hello.out is executable file. Once it gets loaded into main memory, then it becomes process. Process compete for resources. Like there are two processes needs a printer, so they are competing to get this printer resource. Context of processes. So let's say example, there is a school of kids and there are multiple kids who are doing multiple activities like sports, reading, writing, and someone needs to keep eye on that who is doing what. So that is bookkeeping basically. So similarly, OS also keeps tracks of everything, that is context of process. Everything means like value of program counter, general purpose register, list of open files. This is context of everything that OS keeps. So special type of data structure in C program called struct keep track of all context of process is getting stored in same location context of OS dot maintained by OS. So there is special type of data structure called struct in C program who keeps this context of process in operating system. And context of context of everything a process is maintained by operating system. So regarding process, there can be multiple process present in same time, but to run it, it depends on number of processors or CPUs. Like if we have one CPU and there are multiple processes, only one process would run at one time, not multiple process, because we have only one CPU. So there was like line called like informally program is in execution, that is definition of process. Why? Because why they have added informally, because hello.out after loading into main memory at same time it won't execute. So after loading into main memory, it won't execute at that time when it is loaded. It will take some time or whatever the time they have provided. So that's why they have added informally. Um, so there is not conflict or argument. So there is one line: if you load any program in main memory, will it call process? They answer is yes and no both. So there is no argument or definition that if program is in main memory, then it is called process, because answer is yes both and no. We can say it is process and no also. So that's the process definition of process. You can say if program is in loaded into main memory, then it is process, and you cannot say also it's not process. So that's all for the lecture 2. I'm using the other notes, like these are the notes that I've made, whatever I understand from the lecture, but I have given the PDF to Claude and it will make the beautiful notes from that PDF of the classes or lecture I'm watching. So I'll explain more clearly once that notes are with me. So yes, that's the lecture of how to create process, second lecture of OS.